I found out he wasn't coming to the engagement party 10 minutes before it started. I was still zipping up my dress when his sister texted me saying he wasn't feeling well. I called. No answer. I called again. Nothing. I looked at the mirror and just stood there while people started ringing the doorbell downstairs. I told myself to smile and act normal. I opened the door and walked into a party that was meant to celebrate us, but half of us decided not to show up. No explanation, no warning, no apology, just silence. I played hostess, I took pictures, I served food, I accepted compliments about the ring that I would later find out he had asked his mother to help pick out because I wasn't particular enough for diamonds. The food was good, the music was fine, the whole thing felt like standing in someone else's house wearing my clothes. 2 days later, he came over like nothing had happened. He said he was sick, but it wasn't just the flu, it was some kind of stomach bug. He wasn't sure. He didn't look sick, he looked clean and fed and rested. I asked him if we were okay. He said of course. He said I was overthinking. I let it go. That was my pattern with him, letting it go. He always had a reason, and I always believed it because believing it was easier than admitting I might be engaged to someone who couldn't even show up for his own celebration. We went out to eat that night, and he paid for dinner with his mom's credit card. I didn't say anything. She helped with a lot of things. The apartment deposit, his car lease, our honeymoon planning. She was always there, but never directly. Always funding from behind the curtain like she was producing a play she didn't even like watching. She had comments about everything. I wore flats too often. I talked too little. I didn't dress up around the family. I didn't go to church even though I never claimed to. I didn't serve him food at family dinners. She never said these things to me. She whispered them to him, and he brought them home like stray dogs. He'd toss them at my feet and say things like, "Just be careful how you come across," or, "She means well." I swallowed every one of them. I made excuses for her and for him and for us. I kept thinking she'd get used to me. I kept thinking he would defend me. I kept thinking things would settle down once we were married. I didn't realize I was the one being settled. The wedding was 6 months away. I had already picked out my dress. We had a venue. We had deposits down. We had guests flying in from out of state. He started pulling away right after the final deposit. That's when the coldness started. The late nights at his office, the short texts, the forgot to call excuses. I didn't press him because I knew he hated being questioned. I just kept moving forward, planning the wedding while he slowly started planning his exit. His mother called me once, alone, around this time. I was at work. I remember it because I stepped out into the hallway thinking something had happened. She said she wanted to get to know me better. We met for lunch. She didn't eat anything. She sat across from me and picked apart everything I said with her eyes. She asked me about my family, my job, my savings. She asked how I planned to support a man like her son. I laughed at first because I thought she was joking. She wasn't. She said I was sweet but naive. She said her son had options, and it was her job to make sure he didn't waste his life. I told her I loved him. She nodded like she was watching a child lie about stealing candy. I went back to work and didn't tell him about it. I should have, but I didn't. 2 weeks later, we were supposed to attend his cousin's wedding. It was out of town. We had booked a hotel and planned to make a weekend out of it. He picked me up late. We argued in the car about directions. He turned the music up and stopped responding. When we got there, he went straight to the bar. He introduced me to 2 people the whole night. I was invisible. During the reception, he left the table and didn't come back for 40 minutes. When he returned, he said he had been thinking. I asked about what. He said nothing. Later that night, back at the hotel, I asked if he still wanted to do this. Get married, build a life, all of it. He said I needed to stop being dramatic. 3 days after that, his mother sent me a long message. It started with, "I hope you won't take this the wrong way," and ended with, "You're not the right fit for our family." I didn't answer. I showed him the message. He stared at it for a long time, then said I should probably call off the wedding so things didn't get worse. That's how he said it, like he was doing me a favor by handing me the match so I could burn it down myself. I asked if that's what he wanted. He said he wasn't sure. I asked again. He said I should do what I felt was best. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just packed the box with our wedding folder, his spare toothbrush, the ugly sweatshirt I never wore but kept because it was his, and I left it outside his door. 2 days later, his sister texted me. She said she heard I called it off. I didn't respond. A week after that, I started getting missed calls from his mother. then from him, then from her again. It didn't stop. I changed my number. She found me on social media. She messaged me from fake accounts. She left voicemails sobbing. She said he was miserable. She said he was broke. She said he didn't leave me. He was manipulated. She said I ruined everything. I blocked every number. I archived every message. I didn't delete them. I wanted the record. I didn't want to forget how easy it was for him to fold under pressure, how quickly he let her speak for him, how simple it was to choose her comfort over my dignity. The first time I saw him again was 6 months later at a fundraiser I didn't know he'd be at. I was standing near the registration table checking in for a coworker when I heard someone say my name like it belonged to them. I turned, and he looked exactly the same, but smaller somehow, like all the shine had been scrubbed off. He smiled like we were old friends. I nodded and turned back to the table. He didn't take the hint. He stood next to me like nothing had happened, said he was helping his uncle organize the silent auction, said it had been a tough year. I asked if he was still living at his mom's. His face dropped like I'd slapped him. He said it was temporary. I told him I wasn't interested in catching up. He emailed me that night. I know because it came through at 2:04 a.m., and I read it while brushing my teeth. Long, desperate paragraphs about how he made a mistake, how things spiraled, how he missed me. He said the wedding would have been perfect. He said his mom regrets everything. He said he wasn't proud of how things ended. I didn't respond. He emailed again 2 nights later, then again a week after that. Then it stopped for a while. I figured he gave up. I thought it was over. It wasn't. 3 weeks later, I got a message from someone I didn't recognize. Just a first name and no photo. The message was short. "Are you still with him?" I stared at it for a while before asking who they were. The response came fast. She said she had been seeing him for months. She said he told her I was crazy and obsessed, that I had faked our entire engagement to trap him. She said she found the emails he sent me. I forwarded her screenshots of the venue deposit in his name, the invitation list, the catering order, his mom's RSVP. She didn't reply. I figured she blocked me. I didn't blame her. He called me a week after that. New number. I answered by accident. He started talking fast, said he didn't know she'd contact me, said she was unstable, said I was ruining things by not keeping my distance. I hung up. He texted, said I was vindictive, said I needed to grow up, said I should remember who I was before him. Nothing, his mom once told me. That's when I knew he really believed it, that all the gifts and help and attention weren't about love, they were leverage. I posted screenshots, not the whole story, just enough to make sure he couldn't spin it. His messages, his mother's email, one photo of our save-the-date card torn down the middle, dated 6 months before the crazy woman supposedly made it all up. I didn't tag him. I didn't say his name. But everyone knew. A week later, his mother showed up at my job. I saw her through the glass before she walked in. She looked like someone had dragged her out of a nightmare. She asked for 5 minutes. I said no. She sat in the lobby for an hour. My manager asked if I wanted her removed. I said no. Let her sit. She eventually left a letter at the front desk. It was handwritten, begging. She said her son was depressed. He couldn't sleep. He'd lost weight. He was back home. He'd been let go from his job. His friends had distanced themselves. She said I was the only one who could save him. She said she was sorry for how she spoke to me, that I had been the best thing that ever happened to him. She said she was scared when he got serious about someone. She didn't know how to let go. She said I had every right to hate her. She said she wakes up every day hoping I'll call. I tore the letter in half and dropped it in the trash under my desk. Then I went to lunch. A month after that, I got a wedding invitation. His, not from him, from the woman who messaged me before. I don't know if she was being ironic or if she actually meant to invite me. It was a courthouse wedding with a backyard reception. The envelope was plain. No return address. The card was thin and printed with an online template. I laughed out loud. Not because I cared. Because it was pathetic. Because it was what he chose. A watered-down version of everything he pretended to want. I didn't RSVP. 2 weeks later, she called me. From a blocked number. She said she'd found the photos, the engagement party, the dress, the emails. She said she wanted to know what else he lied about. I said that wasn't my problem. She said he talks in his sleep now. Says my name, that he keeps a picture of us in his drawer. I told her to burn it. She said I was cruel. I said no, I just stopped volunteering for humiliation. She hung up. The last time I heard from either of them was on what would have been our 1-year wedding anniversary. His mom left a voicemail. She was crying, said he needed help, said he'd lost everything, said he was in therapy, said she didn't know what else to do, that she regretted every word she said, that she was sorry she let her fear control her, that she wished she'd welcomed me instead of driving me away, that she thought he was better than this, that she thought she was too. I saved the voicemail. Then I forwarded it to my lawyer and asked how I could make sure neither of them ever contacted me again. 3 months after her last voicemail, I ran into her at a pharmacy. I was standing in line, holding cold medicine and a granola bar, and I saw her walking toward the prescription counter. She didn't see me until she turned around. We locked eyes. She looked at me like she was seeing someone come back from the dead. I looked at her like she was a stranger on a bus. She opened her mouth like she wanted to say something, but I turned around and paid for my stuff. When I walked out, she was standing by my car. I didn't break stride. I got in, started the engine, and drove away. They had a kid, or at least that's what the baby announcement said. The card came in the mail addressed to the future Mrs., his last name. That was my name once, or it was supposed to be. I didn't open it. I left it on the table until the ink smudged and the edges curled. Then I threw it out without reading it. I don't know if the baby is real or if it was another attempt to pull me back into the circus. I didn't care enough to find out. She emailed me 6 months later. Not the mom, the wife. It was long. It said he was unemployed, that he was drinking too much, that he blamed everyone but himself, that she found more messages, that he said I was the one who ruined his life, that he talked about me like I was the woman who broke him. She said he never looked at her the way he used to look at me. She asked if I ever saw that in him. The anger, the entitlement, the shame. I deleted it. Then I emptied the trash folder. I didn't need it. I didn't want to play therapist to a woman who once thought she won something. They moved in with his mother a few months later, the same house he promised we'd never live in. I saw it through an old contact who still lived nearby. The house looked the same. Her car still parked out front. A for sale sign leaning against the porch railing 2 months later. The contact told me he'd been sued by someone over unpaid rent for a storefront he tried to open and abandoned. I didn't even know he had a storefront. The last time I saw any of them, it wasn't in person. It was a shared article on social media about emotional abuse from parents that included anonymous quotes. One of the quotes sounded like it came from him. It talked about pressure, about a mother who controlled everything, about a partner who wouldn't submit to the family structure, about a man torn between love and obligation. It didn't name anyone, but I recognized the phrasing. It was the same tone he used when he tried to rewrite the ending. I moved last year. New city, new job, no forwarding address. I didn't tell anyone I used to know. I left behind the bridal shower gifts still in their boxes. The dried-out bouquet he gave me once. The dress I never wore. I sold the ring to a woman who said she didn't care where it came from as long as it fit. It fit her perfectly. I didn't say a word when I handed it over. Now sometimes, when my phone rings and I don't recognize the number, I let it go to voicemail, just in case. I want the record, not because I care, just because I like to be reminded of what I escaped, of who they are when nobody's watching, of what it costs to let someone else's voice replace your own.